Hello YouTube, we have to talk. Zenless Zone Zero has been reviewed so many times and the sentiment is not good. So maybe you think it's because I googled Zenless Zone Zero bad, but if you do Zenless Zone Zero good, you find the same results. You find results that are very negative, like those two. So those two are actually Tecton and Asmongold reviewing other YouTubers that do say that the game is potentially bad. So what are we going to do as Adventure Horizon? Actually, we are going to analyze the game from a game design perspective in the future. I will do that with Figma, as always, and talk about the games element one by another after another. But in this series, we'll be watching big YouTubers talk about the game, and I will express my opinion from there, so that then we can talk about the situation in general. We will be starting with Asmongold and we will be reviewing other content creators too. So it will be kind of a reaction video over a reaction video. It's in a new format. And yeah, this is Nerualas reviewing Asmongold, so about Zenless Zone Zero. So the first YouTuber was Theory that made a video about Zenless Zone Zero potentially not being good. Let's start.
Zenless Zone Zero. A lot of people have been kind of negative about the game. I figured I'd watch a short video about it. Game is ass.
So I want to talk about the real reason why people are not satisfied with Zenless Zone Zero.
Also, if you can notice, we are watching this video at 1.25%, so that it's a little bit faster.
Of course, we're showing my opinion on the game. So let's get straight to the point. The first real reason why people are not satisfied with the game is like the game is too easy for them. All you have to do is left click. Some people aren't feeling the reward from the gameplay. But I actually want to preface this, and I want to say that the game for me is kind of enjoyable. I will probably rate it a 6 out of 10, maybe a 6 and
that was my number 2 for it. Yeah, 6 out of 10. The other thing is like with Wuthering Waves,
Okay, so let's talk about this before going ahead. So the video is an auto-clicker? I don't think so. The combat is very complex. It has many elements, many mechanics. I talked about anomalies already on a video. There's the stun bar, there's dodging, there's counter dodging. So there are a lot of mechanics that come into play. It's very easy in the story, of course, because all the gacha game story mode is kind of easy. Especially if you don't do the challenge mode. If you do the challenge mode, it's still easy. I wish there was harder modes for the story specifically, but the end game is expected to be harder. Anyways, I understand the frustration of a very easy game. I'm just saying the combat can be very dynamic. Not hard, but dynamic.
maybe a 6 and
that was my number 2 for it. Yeah, 6 out of 10. The other thing is like with Wuthering Waves just got released, and it was already like, because people have a direct recent frame of reference to compare this to. So
no, I don't think so. I think with all respect, I think Wuthering Waves is very different from Zenless Zone Zero. Wuthering Waves is an exploration RPG gacha, an exploration action RPG like Zenless Zone Zero, but Zenless Zone Zero is a staged action RPG gacha. So there are different genres, subgenres, but still different genres.
Anybody who's looking for like a combat game that's like responsive and shit, this game just isn't it, bro. It's just not it.
I have if I'm generous. But I want to say that the first like 20 levels of the game aren't very enjoyable until you actually get to the new modes and try some end game mode, and it becomes a little more challenging the more you play it. And I think that if the game is going to be always casual like that, it's going to only like get a very, very, very niche audience, and it will probably be my first gacha game that I play on mobile. I do not enjoy gacha games on mobile, but I think this is...
I've never played one of these games on mobile other than Honkai Star Rail to do my dailies. Other than that, no. Like, the reason why the game isn't responsive, no, the game is very responsive. It plays very well, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there are no...
Yeah, I think the game is responsive, in fact.
bugs really in...
I was very skeptical about the fights at the beginning, but I realized it's one of the most fluid fighting modes in any game I ever tried. I had a lot of fun. And friends are having a lot of fun with the fluidity of the fights.
In the game, at least that I've encountered, all of the intangible things like that are pretty much good. The problem with the game is that it's just less than a lot of other games. The combat is less than other games.
The combat is less than other games. I think the combat is very engaging.
The world is less than other games.
The world is, of course, less than other games because this is not an exploration gacha. So you have small environments. Those small environments, though, are very detailed. I think they're full of pop references, and they have a very decisive style. It's a very defined style that is urban fantasy, and it really drips style. So it works. It really drips fashion. I don't know. The clothes are very well designed. All the things you find in your room, in your video store, like the videos you find on the store, are all pop references. Can you see like right down, right in the right here? There are a lot of plugs, and those plugs are the ones your computer is using. There are a lot, and these small details make all the environments you have very good. You don't have many. That's the point.
The characters are, I think, less than other games. It's just like this game would have been.
The characters are less than other games. Why? I mean, there are a lot of designs that are very original. The clothing of the characters is very well made. There are animal-like characters like in Beastars and other, of course, pop culture games, which are like a style that you may like or not like, but I don't think they are less. I think they are just different.
Great if it came out right after Honkai Impact 3rd in like 2018 or 19. But
plus everything is very street fantasy style. I love it.
Compared to the market now, with like games like Genshin, Star Rail, you've got that Azure Permilia game coming out, Wuthering Waves. A lot of these other games are just so much better. It's built on doing money. Yeah, what's the story? I don't know. I might play a bit more of it myself and see what it's about. But yeah, that's the way I feel about it.
Going to be a good one. But another reason why people aren't satisfied, I think that if the game launched before Wuthering Waves, I would think that it would get a better reception because people already tried how you can get one shot.
I don't think so. I think Wuthering Waves would have distracted you from the game. I love Wuthering Waves. I loved Jinxie's gameplay, the animations, the look of the ultimate, the skill is awesome. I loved other characters. I think the take on the design is pretty original. It was also kind of daring because the palette is not too bright, but still very interesting takes and makes it different from Genshin. But when Zenless Zone Zero came out, I got distracted from Wuthering Waves because I think they are both very good.
From bosses and how a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Like having Wuthering Waves released before this game made this game look like garbage. Absolutely.
I don't think so.
But I think also we're seeing that.
Garbage? I don't really think so. I think they're very different in style. So there's no way it makes the game feel like garbage.
At inside of an echo chamber of people that are like more serious gamers that are watching YouTube videos about these games. So like there's a good chance that Zenless Zone Zero could be very popular with brain dead normies. Like if you're thinking.
No, honestly, from my experience, Zenless Zone Zero is popular between artists. I have friends I talked about the game. Most of the fan base is artists, people that like drawing or like Japanese culture or Oriental culture. And at the same time, I think it's also liked by people that like comics. Even people that like Marvel comics, like American comics. Because it has a very visual novelish style to tell a story, and also it's like more towards urban fantasy, and urban fantasy is very common in comics, especially American comics. But regardless, it's one niche of audience. Also, yeah, I don't think it's for normies. Like, why? The mechanics are very complex, and the game is deep enough to be fun for anyone.
Thinking of normies with the brain capacity of like a vacuum cleaner, then maybe this game could be popular.
Modes aren't that easy, and then we went to a very easy game.
A hand vacuum cleaner, by the way, not like one of the big ones. That'd be too much.
We are not talking about Demon God gacha. We're talking about a very mature gacha. Like, I don't understand this point of view.
I can see that point, but to be honest, let's be real, the game is overhated. I think that a lot of people are either hating for fun, or the things that they don't like are just personal preference. Like for example, let's talk about the TV mode, okay? The TV mode is probably the worst thing they did on the game. And I actually agree that the TVs in a lot of things kind of useless. Like why did you put TVs here and there, and a lot of it in...
Okay, so let me comment this. So the game is divided in three phases. One is story phase, in which you have two sub-phases. One is the manga style storytelling, which uses sequences. The other is the visual novel 3D style that uses dub dialogue, just dialogue most of the times. They are both pretty good. Plus, the TV phase is the puzzle phase that helps tying up the narration to the combat. And then, of course, you have the combat. So the phases are three, and the TV phase kind of ties the two together and adds some puzzle mechanics that you wouldn't have, because this is not an exploration game, so you don't have any puzzle if you don't have that.
The main story...
so I don't think it's bad.
Like, they need to change that. They need to make it easier for a lot of people. But to be honest, in modes like the simulated universe of this game, I actually enjoyed the TVs. Yes, I thought they had a meaning inside this mode, in only this mode. I thought, okay, keep the TVs in this mode. This is good. But in a lot of other modes, in a lot of other ways you play the game, there is no need to do TVs every time. So they definitely need to change TVs. But at the same time, I found that TVs are kind of personal preference too. Like, I found some people that like TVs, and even
I'm sure some people like it, some people don't like it. That's the same as anything else. The TVs, so you go from, like, imagine like right here, you go from here to here to here, like theoretically from the different TVs, and it's like a maze inside of the level. And then on certain one of these TVs, there's a bad guy and you have to go inside the TV and kill the bad guy. That's basically the way that it works. I think
Yeah, exactly. It's a simple puzzle.
here's also another issue, is like if I pull up my own video about it.
It also works
So-
as a map, kind of. Basically your exploration map.
So if I look
But it's not an exploration game, so you don't have exploration.
at right here, for example, and then I look at right here, for example, I am in basically the exact same place. There's nothing really new about this. There's nothing that's unique.
Yeah, that's a problem. They don't have many stages for the fights. I hope they release more. I am sure they will release more, but there are not too many. So that would have been a good point to improve.
Or different or anything like that. I'm doing the exact same thing, spawning in the exact same place. It's repetitive. Yeah, it is. And I think that's also another big issue. It's super repetitive.
myself, I kind of enjoy them sometimes. I won't say that I never enjoy TVs and puzzles, but maybe because I like puzzles, you know? Would I say that most people like puzzles? I don't think so. No, the Zenless Zone Zero experience is good to see, not to play. At least for day one. After that, the game improved even more. Like,
I think it's good to see and to play.
in day 2 now. But day 1 feels kind of slow. It feels kind of annoying. The game is
I think the game feels very dynamic.
easy, although the gameplay looks very
It's true that you have a lot to read, so maybe that part can be slow. But if you are into the story style, you enjoy it. If you are not, you can skip. The skips recap the story, so you can skip.
very good. It's not very enjoyable. It has some depth in it, but you don't need it. That's my problem with Genshin. But even Genshin was more enjoyable as a start, or even for a whole month or two to look.
Well, it's like if you play Genshin, like already visually, look at that.
It's very colorful, there's no doubt. But this doesn't mean that the other bad.
That looks amazing. Like, compare that to this. This sucks.
No, I don't think so. This scene specifically is kind of bleak.
It's
though.
depressing. Everything is
This is not depressing, this is lively, for instance.
gray.
This is very warm. It's completely different.
Like, it just sucks. Like, I don't
And
know
of
what else I
course,
can really say
you
beyond
have-
that. It just
Sorry, you also have
fucking sucks. Let me
a lot of grayscale.
see if I can find another.
Yeah, there. You have a lot of grayscale because of the urban fantasy theme. So the palette has a lot of gray in the clothing, in the streets. That's normal. Even if I don't think it makes it bleak. This scene is not bleak, for instance. It's full of blues.
Image of like combat, and also like everything out in this open world you can go and do, and you can
Yeah, and you can't in Zenless Zone Zero because it's not an exploration game.
do that right from the beginning of the game. And that's the same as Wuthering Waves or any of these games. They're open world games. So like, what do you do inside of Wuthering Waves if you just want to play the game? Not a lot.
learn how to do the reaction, to dodge sometimes.
So it probably means Zenless Zone Zero. What you do in Zenless Zone Zero, if you don't, yeah, you do the stages, you'll read the story. It's a different genre, just different.
But here the mobs need like to hit you like 20, 30 times to kill you. This is insane. At least from the start. I'm talking like this is the start of the game.
Yeah.
And I do know
Yeah, if I say Wuthering Waves, I mean, this is Zenless Zone Zero. Yeah, sorry about that.
to kill you. This is insane. At least from the start. I'm talking like this is the start of the game. And I do know the game has to be easy from the start, especially for gachas. Even Wuthering Waves, the Crownless fight, the first Crownless fight is easy. But I think that they went too easy on the players. But looking at the gameplay is very, very smooth. And there's something about the game that's very smooth that I like. The movement looks very cool. There's a lot of things that are good in the game, but you cannot use that. You know, you cannot utilize what you're doing. So I do not think that the game is bad.
Maybe in Shiyu Defense, the abyss of this game, you can do that.
I think if there's a lack
We can't progress much because the game is kind of time gated or money gated. But I think Shiyu Defense is the answer for this kind of need.
of difficulty in the game, that's it. Because, for example, I like this
Well, the lack of difficulty comes from a lack of complexity. There's only like one thing that you can do. You can use your skill, you can use your ultimate, and you can press spacebar to change your character.
Yeah, I mean, they are not MMOs. They are not too complex in the way you fight. But I don't think it's it's a weakness.
Or dodge. Like, there's just not a lot of depth there. And like, even inside of Elden Ring, like you could say, oh, it's like Elden Ring, there's not a lot of attacks. Like, there are a lot of ways that you can do the same attack. Like, for example, in this game, you can't even jump. That's crazy.
Story. I like how they present the story, even though I didn't expect to like it. I was like, okay, this is a visual novel. I won't be able to like this story, but no, the story was actually enjoyable to me. The gameplay is also...
The story so far, I thought, has been... It's not as bad as the beginning of the Wuthering Waves story. I think that it is better than that. But that's like beating the slowest person in a race. That doesn't mean you're fast.
I think the story lets you... So it's not dramatic. It's not dramatic like in high fantasy, but I think it's very fitting the environment. It makes you understand who are the parties, that there are corporations that are kind of construction corporation, that there's this virtual world, that you are helping teams to achieve to complete missions for some kind of corporation or other entities. So I think the story works to introduce you in this environment. It's not dramatic too much, but it's very, very engaging. I find it very, very reasonable, honestly, at the beginning.
enjoyable. There's some cool strategy to it if the mobs are doing some damage, which they will do when you progress into the game. But it's still not enough for now. I hope that the more I progress into the game, a little challenging. I want to need to dodge at least once or twice. Because for now, especially day one, it felt like button mashing. You only like use left click and that's it. But here I want to call some people that are going like...
Honestly, if you had to choose a button, I think it would be space plus left click. Because space make you counter. Counter in this game is so strong.
Okay, PGR is better. Here's the thing. I only played 15 hours of PGR. And I'm gonna be real, I think that PGR is just mashing the same button. The gameplay...
PGR, who gives a fuck about that? That's Punishing Grey Raven. That game came out like 8 years ago, 6 years ago. Who gives a fuck about that? That's their old game.
I think Punishing Grey Raven is still a relevant game. Pokemon is relevant after 28 years, even in its early stages. And not only for nostalgia, because it was good in many things. There are still a lot of modern games like even indies like Cassette Beasts that do creature collection gameplay that looks like Pokemon a lot. But besides, Punishing Grey Raven, to go back to that, yeah, that's true. It can be a little bit button mashing, especially because the recent character is very strong. But I don't think it's irrelevant. I think it's very it's in the same category as Zenless Zone Zero, and it's not terrible at all. It's very interesting, especially with the story and the animation compartment. The animation and the particle effects in PGR are incredible.
They also, like the people that made the game, agree that it's outdated. That's why they made a new game.
I don't think so. There are different genres.
Nobody gives a shit.
One is an exploration game. The other is a stage game. This is a stage game. Genshin is an exploration game. Wuthering Waves is an exploration game. And PGR is a stage game. They are different.
Shit about that game anymore. It's dead.
Looks flashy and looks even better than Zenless Zone Zero, but I think that PGR also has the same problem, at least in the first 15 hours. I only collect same abilities and I finished the whole content that I played. Now you might say, and I want PGR players to confirm this in the comments.
Yeah, it's fair. The new character is so strong, you just trigger huge explosions, and that's
you might say PGR will actually become more challenging afterwards and you will have to use other buttons, so
I'm not sure. There are challenges. You can make the game challenging, but it's definitely not needed.
Don't hate about PGR. Okay, exactly. Do not hate about...
I'm not a fan of games that basically the entire story of the game is like zero gameplay effort, just brain dead. Because I think that whenever you have that, you don't teach players how to get better at the game. They just stay bad, and then they finally hit the point where it's like they hit the reality checkpoint. And because it's so late in the game, and they've already developed like an ego for the game, it makes them feel bad and they quit.
I was reading the comments, yeah, Final Fantasy XIV is one of them. You have easy gameplay, then you get to Savage Rides and you suffer if you play them. So they are optional content though, so...
It's kind of like the WoW difficulty curve, where it's like, okay, that's...
Oh yeah, WoW doesn't surprise me.
Ooh, there it is, right? That's Mythic Plus. So, like, the difficulty and everything that's involved and, like, expected of you just, like, multiplies by 10. But then you can start to pay? Yeah, true.
Zenless Zone Zero from the start, but...
It's like Elden Ring's the same way, right? Like, Elden Ring challenges you immediately. It says, here's the Tree Sentinel. You know, are you ready to get fucked up? So, yeah, it's like all games are like this.
Yeah, I mean...
All good games are like this, I mean.
Yeah, I mean... Elden Ring, as much as on a smaller degree... Monster Hunter are fighting games, are fighting focused games, so they have a lot of ways you can solve the combat. and it's very stylish. This game is not a combat-focused game. Even if the developer said it's a combat-focused game, it's not. It's a gacha game. It has a story that is relevant. It has character design, character collections, builds. It's not too focused on the fights, even if the fights are fun.
The start, as an opinion, I think the start of the game isn't the best, isn't the most enjoyable. Does it
No, it's
deserve
not.
all the hate for now? No. We need to complete the whole thing. I actually don't think players should...
I disagree with this mindset. I don't like the mindset that you have to play the entire game in order to think that it's bad. Now, I think that, again, like, what he's saying has some merit, but I don't think that it invalidates opinions. So if you've played the game for like 2 hours and you thought the time that you spent playing the game was wasted, then you have wasted your time and the game is bad, and that's absolutely fair. It's 100% fair.
Yeah, the game should be fun from the start. I agree. Well, if you want to understand it very well, you need to play more than the start. But I agree that hopefully the start should be good. But this game has a very good start. I love it in the animation, in the manga style narration. In the first fight, I was very enthusiastic, so I don't understand the problem.
So, like, if you do that, and like the first impressions of a game absolutely matter, and I would argue that they matter more than the end game. Because if the first impressions are so bad that people don't even get through them, then who cares how good the end game is? Nobody's ever going to see it.
Yeah, that's a good
Everything,
point.
let content creators do their thing, let some...
Yeah, first impressions are incredibly valid. New players and new player experience is super valid.
Free-to-play players go through the whole content, and you can see some different opinions about the game. For me, the game is a 6 out of 10. I'm not quitting the game any sooner, even though
I
the
rated
game
it 6
feels like
too.
a hack and slash now.
So they rated it a 6. I see. I am glad they didn't rate it a 4, but I think it deserves more. I would rate it an 8 out of 10, honestly. The style is incredible, so it carries kind of hard towards the point in which I think it's a very good game. It can be even better than 8 out of 10.
It kind of feels fun, and I can see that it's promising. The devs are doing a bad job in presenting how the game will look like in the future, because they sometimes say, okay, it's a casual game, and then in the live stream, go ahead and say, we will implement more harder things in the future. So yes, I will also...
I don't think these are necessarily exclusive. I feel like you can have hard content and still have a casual game.
I agree. If they introduce very, very hard content, I think everyone will be more happy.
It really just depends. If you're hooked by endgame, you'll stay. You have to wait until endgame.
It just need to be in its, basically, it doesn't need, it shouldn't make everything else dependent to the hard content.
For the good stuff, it won't work. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like, here's a good example. Like in Star Rail, the Star Rail entry level experience was very good. You know, where it's like you're going through new boss fights regularly, then you fight this big guy, and then you're on like a fucking a train. Like shit's happening immediately. You're going to another planet. Like things are already like popping off. Things are happening all the time. And then you have like Wuthering Waves, right? You're immediately getting...
Yeah, I mean, that's true in Star Rail, especially because it opens with the Kafka scene. When I was left in Belobog with Snow and my very weak 4-star team, though, I wasn't that happy, so I dropped it for a while, I will be honest. And I got it back, and then I liked it very much. So, not too sure. Like, every game has some weakness.
Into the combat, you immediately get your 3 characters. You're automatically doing stuff. Like, and there's the little things where, can you even choose which character you swap to? Or do you just press spacebar and it swaps the next character around? You can choose. You press C to swap to previous. Okay.
blame Hoyoverse for what they did. So anyway, that was my opinion. We will see in the future. That was the video. Bye bye.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real. I think that this game needs a lot of work. I think it needs an insane amount of work. I'll link you guys a video. Like, I think the people that are saying this game is good are on...
Needs a lot of work? I think it's pretty mature. It can be better, though.
like, massive fucking copium. Like, I'll finish, I'll do some more.
No.
They're saying this game is good are on, like, massive fucking copium. Like, I'll finish...
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'll
Like,
do some...
why should they be on copium? When I visited my friend's house on my birthday, I talked about the game and we were all very much enthusiastic. So, yeah, the game is good. Like, come on, we enjoy it so much. At the very least, it's good for a niche, right? We are not on copium. We had a lot of fun together. We talked about the game. We enjoyed it. Maybe it's not for everyone, but I don't think it's everyone that likes it is on copium.
some more. I'll do more spins on the game, do it a little bit more today. But like
maybe Zach doesn't like it, and I understand. It's a matter of tastes. Plus, this game has a very strong stylistic choices, so maybe he doesn't look like that. Plus, it isn't really a competitive game, so maybe he's lacking that. I understand 100%. Plus, if he wants to discuss about my opinions, about his opinions, I'm 100% open to do that. I will be very, very happy to.
Like, I don't know, like, after I play this game, like, for, like, maybe a couple more days, I don't really see myself going and, like, getting really involved with it, right?
Yeah, I'm sad about it, but I hoped he covered it.
And it's not amazing. Yeah, it's just, it's not amazing. It's not like it's awful, right? It's not that it's bad. Like, it's a 6, right? And a 6 is a really good number. 6 is a great number.
I still think it's an 8.
But I think that if you compare it to, like, the other 2 titles that they have, right? Like, you look at Genshin and Star Rail, this game is like a distant 3rd place.
Actually, Genshin was created a genre-based, both actually not created, but brought a genre, the exploration gacha games, to the Western audience. Plus, exploration gacha game was, I don't know if it actually existed. Of course, gacha games already existed, so it's very relevant. But it had, it was immature in many things. I think Sarel had a lot of success specifically because the story is very good and the characters are very detailed. But I think this game has merits, and I don't think it's a distant 3rd. I think it's good. I think it's on that level. Maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher even, I don't know. But I think it's on the same level.
Very, very distant for 3rd place. Like, it's not even, in my opinion, remotely close.
I'm not sure. I think it's good. I think it will be better and better with time passing. But anyways, these are Asmongold's opinions. I am glad that he covered the game. I am glad we have different opinions because it means more discussion. It's fun. Plus, I am 100% open to discussion. Imagine if Asmongold comes here and watch the video. I will be happy to be blasted and commented. I mean, it's the fun of conversation. We have different opinions and we talk about them. We say we disagree. What's important is that we always respect the people that have the opinion. The opinions, we can play with them as much as we want. So if you want to, in the comments, all of you, if you want to express your opinion, go ahead. If you want to express my opinion are invalid from your point of view, please go ahead as well. Just don't tell players are invalid. They are completely wrong as people. I don't think that ever happens. We are talking about games and we are expressing opinions. So that's just conversation. That's how. That's one of the fun things about games. You can talk about very different opinions, and this trend kind of interested me because I loved game from the first moment, and I find it very weird. I find it very surprising, but at the same time very engaging. So yeah, I will be doing a video about my opinion of the game. I will be still covering other big content creators that cover small content creators. Maybe I will also cover small content creators about opinions about the game and the games we cover as much as I can. Please express your opinion. I'll be waiting for you. Please be as free as you want when it comes to your opinion. So this is Nero Atlas covering Asmongold that covers Steorg on why are players disappointing in the Zenless Zone Zero. Have a nice day. This is Nero Atlas, done with the video and logging out.